Okay, everybody. So this video is about how to use Google Calendar to schedule meetings in a global distributed team. So for those of you who know the research and research team, this is basically what we do on a daily basis. We're always scheduling meetings with people in different continents and countries. So I just wanted to show a few techniques for this. So to start, of course, everything is going to be based on Google Calendar. So the first principle is everybody should have a Gmail account. Everybody should have their calendar up to date on Google Calendar. So the simplest way of doing this, well, I don't know if it's the simplest, but one of the ways of doing this is to start selecting calendars for the people you're trying to schedule your meeting with. So, initially here, all I have is my calendar. My calendar is in blue. And now I'm going to start overlapping my calendar with the calendar from Jatin, who is in India. Then let's pull a few other people here. Let's say Clarissa from Brazil. And I'm gonna put Clarissa in another color so that she can be differentiated. So pink for Clarissa. Then Etienne, who's in Africa. Let's see who else. Well, that should be okay. Well, as you can see here, this is pretty challenging. It would be nearly impossible to schedule this, just by email because everybody's pretty busy. But when you overlap all of these calendars, all of a sudden, you can see the spots where people would be free for a meeting. So, for example, on Thursday at 3 p.m., all three of us, we would be available for a meeting. So what I would do here is just to say, I'm going to call this meeting the weekly. Please ignore. So just that they don't do it. They don't, they ignore this. Then I would say edit event details. I'm going to say this meeting is going to happen over Skype. Here I would put a description of what we're going to be doing in the meeting. So blah, blah, blah. And here I would put the emails, Gmails of each one of them. So first Jatin, then Etienne, and then Clarissa. Okay. So all of them are now added here in this section. And then finally, what I also want to do is to click on this button saying modify event. Now this is extremely important because if for any reason, one of them forgot to mention that they are actually busy at that time, they can move the meeting to another place. Now I'm going to say save. Usually I will send them an invitation. In this case, because it's a fake meeting, I'm not sending anything. So I'm not sending an email. And I can say, don't send. So basically this is the meeting. And as you can see here, my meeting shows up in blue. The meeting from Jatin, here's Clarissa. The meeting from Jatin shows up in green, Clarissa in pink, and Etienne in, I don't know what this is, brown maybe, yellow, I don't know. uh, but then, there's one more problem. So Etienne is in Cameroon, which is, I believe, 6 hours later than the East Coast. Clarissa is in Brazil, which right now is 1 hour later. And Jatin is in India, which is, I believe, 9.5 hours. Now, I know these countries and the time zones, because, I work with them all the time. But, it's easy to see that this would be pretty challenging to figure what time this would be in each one of the countries, especially when we have, this is a simple meeting. We only have 4 people. But very often, we have meetings with, 6 people from 6 or 7 different countries at the same time. So now I'm going to show you a few other tricks of how to improve this. Making sure that you're not scheduling meetings at impossible times. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Labs button for calendar, and then I'm going to activate. Um, Actually, let me just say something. If your Labs is not activated, just go to Settings and Calendar Settings, and then there's an option there activating labs. Okay. Now, when I do this with labs, it's going to show me a lot of different things that I can choose to facilitate my schedule. And I'm going to choose two, as you can see, I have a bunch of them chosen. So, choose my own one-on-one with or whatever. But I'm going to choose for the global scheduling, the smart rescheduler, as well as the world clock. Let me save this. So now, as you can see on the right side here, I have two additional buttons. So the first one, shows me word clocks. I already had this, so I have the times here for the people I meet the most with. So like Hong Kong, Singapore, Russia, Greece, different places, Italy. But what's really neat about this is that if I click on my meeting here, all of a sudden, this, and it says here, my meeting is at a 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Time, and this is the Eastern time. But then it shows me what time 3 p.m. is going to be in different countries. So, for example, for Jatin, even though it's free on his calendar, it's actually 12:30 a.m. So I would have to check with him whether he wants to do a meeting at this time. We have a bunch of night owls in our group, so a lot of people meet really late, but that could not be good for him. In Brazil, so São Paulo, for Clarissa it would be 4 p.m. For what's the time zone for Africa here? So it's the same time zone that we have for Rome. That's why I didn't do it. So it would be at 9 p.m. But I could go ahead and basically do settings and include a city. I don't know if we're gonna have a city from Cameroon, but I could include a city that matches Cameroon. So that's one way of doing this. Now the other way of doing this would be if I want to reschedule this meeting, if I want to reschedule this meeting, what I can do is I can select the meeting here, and then I can click on Find New Time. This is the smart rescheduler. And now what it's saying is, all the different possible times. Of course, there's not a lot of times, but where we could potentially, schedule this meeting. And here on the left side, I can say, well, this meeting has to last for 1 hour. It has to, the earliest day is so, latest day is so, earliest time is 9 to 6, but this, would have problems for different time zones. So for Clarissa, for Jatin, and then I can, start looking at different times here until I find one that does not have a conflict for anybody. Of course, probably here I would have to change the time because this is probably too early for Jatin. But basically, this is what it is. Now, if I look at the possible conflict, then it's going to show me the calendar for each one of these people. So for Etienne, Clarissa, myself, and Jatin. Now, because I'm going to be traveling for these next 3 weeks, I guess this is the reason why it's not showing. Yeah, I'm only back in October. Anyway, so I would go back and maybe do something like October. Okay, so whenever I do October, then it looks good for everybody. And then if I want to schedule that, I would say, October 11th is a good time. Then I would just schedule for that time. So basically, these are the main, this is the main idea for the scheduling for global meetings. The point I want to emphasize again is that trying to do this without a scheduler, without these tools, would be extremely challenging. So again, the only thing you have to do is to have Google Calendar and to ask that other people in your team keep their calendars up to date. Okay, thank you.